So now that you selected your font and you also know what colors to use, so you know what colors you're going to make your fonts, you know what colors you're going to make your title, you know what color you're going to make your background, there's one super important thing that you need to know, and that's contrast. What's contrast? Contrast is super easy to understand. It's the difference between the background and the foreground. So if this whiteboard is my background, what color is the whiteboard? Obviously white, it's in the name. So if I use a white marker, are you going to see it? Probably not, because white and white makes white. So there's no difference between the color for you to see it. But now that I'm using a black marker, you can see what I'm drawing. So if I draw an A here, you can see it because the background is white and the foreground is black, or the letter is black. So this has high contrast. Same applies to if your background was black. If your background is black and your letters are white, again, the color difference is very big. So you'll be able to see the white A on a black background. So contrast is a difference between the color of your background and foreground. Now, if you have high contrast, that means it's super easy for someone to read your text because the difference in color from the background and your text is super high. But if you have low contrast, you make it extremely difficult for someone to read your text because the color of the foreground and the background is super similar. The bigger the difference in color between the background and foreground, the easier it is on your eyes, the easier it is to read, the easier it is to see. And when someone's scrolling through Amazon looking at a bunch of book covers, you want to attract them straight away. And contrast is one of the easiest ways to attract them as soon as possible. Straight away, you get them to click. So make sure you look at your contrast. Super important. Now, it's not just about your text, it's also about your images as well. So if your book cover has a black background and then your main image is a white bird or something, you have a white pigeon or whatever. I can't draw, so let's just draw a plane since I can hear the planes going in the background. Let's just draw a white plane. If you have a white, this is a plane by the way. If you have a white plane as your main image and your background is black, that's going to give you high contrast. When you're scrolling through Amazon, you're going to instantly be able to tell that this is a plane because it stands out from the background. So contrast is not only important for text, it's also important for images. Always look at the contrast of your text and the contrast of your images with your background. Now, if you go on the Canva color wheel like we talked about at the start, you're going to be able to find colors that match well together that also give you high contrast, which is super important.